This is your number one.
Why do you think this quote, "Na woman dey drive"? Why do you think it is an unspoken rule?
Another perspective is that I feel it comes from the place of lack of patience.
It's just the societal way that people have already reasoned women to be like already. There are many times that women drive way better than men.
I want us to separate this superiority thing that you're talking about.
Men are always in a haste to bypass rules, while women will always want to follow rules.
If you're learning how to drive, you're expected to get your learner's permit, which will cover you for a period of 3 months.
Flick Play is the latest feature on the Flickro app.
We thought that, users should be able to score points when they use a particular service or a particular feature.
Most of the times when I see them tow these vehicles, they use very strong ropes.
You're listening to only the best
Automotive podcast in Nigeria.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's another beautiful Friday evening. Thank God it's Friday. And today we will be having the Flickro podcast, as we will do. This is where we talk about everything that has to do with the automotive industry, cars and for car lovers, and basically, to help each other be more abreast with things that are happening and how we can best maintain our cars, our vehicles, and yes, everything in between. All right, my name is Joshua aka Mercury. I will be the host for today's program. So today we will be talking about car maintenances in this subsidy-less economy. All right. Yes, we all know the situation of Nigeria and how the subsidy has somewhat been an issue, dating back, say, to the past 2-3 months. We have experienced a bit of an economic downturn in this country. All right, so I use this medium to welcome everyone to this podcast, everyone to this Twitter space. Thank you so very much for joining. Today I have we have a guest that would do justice to the topic, and he is the CEO and co-founder of KeisFix, if I got that right. KeisFix, yes, Automotive service. I'm sorry. I hope I got that right. His name is Isaiah Samuel. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. Yes.
Did I get that right?
Okay, it is KeisFix. KeisFix.
Oh, okay. I'm so
yeah.
KeisFix.
No, it's not a problem. So, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I'm.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll be going straight into it. So today, as I mentioned before, the topic we're talking about is car maintenance in this subsidy-less.
Can you hear me?
economy. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Sorry, call came in. So subsidy-less economy. So
yeah. Okay, so I was doing something. Yes, I said the topic today is car maintenance in this subsidy-less economy, and I would, from that, I would like to ask. We all know, the situation of Nigeria and how the economy has somewhat affected us in one way or the other. For those that have cars and for those that don't have cars. But that will lead me to the first question I want to ask.
Okay.
Now, with this fuel subsidies, and how the fuel subsidies being phased out in our economy, how do you think car owners will need to adjust their approach to car maintenance?
They would need to adjust drastically to it because of a truth, it is not going to be easy with managing how to drive, and then the cost of fuel, and then the traffic and everything. They would have to adjust to many methods, like standard methods of driving safely that wouldn't allow you consume much fuel? Well, it's in two ways. Number one, it's the car owner knowing what to do, and number two, the technicians that repair cars actually doing the right thing to getting the cars in a standard working operation to actually function and not the car consuming lots of fuel in this time.
Okay, thank you very much. I would think to say that the way we as Nigerians actually react to things is somewhat different from other countries. Now, why I said that is because the situation that we are in this country.
Yeah.
The situation that we are in this country and this phase that we are facing is somewhat going to affect everyone, and in particular, and those who actually maybe have cars. Everyone basically, we don't expect everyone, because no matter who you are, you're going to be moving up and down. You're going to be commuting the roads, and all of everything. Now, in a 30-year economy, the way fuel prices have risen, and the way we are hearing it now, and the way it is posed on the news, is saying situations are saying, statistics is showing that it is likely to increase again, and this is because of basically the people we arrested and all that. I don't want to go straight into that, but what I want to ask is, how can car owners optimize driving habits to better improve fuel efficiency? Means well that right now the fuel price is about. The other day I heard that it was running to 800, and that it's crazy because a lot of people, the majority of people have not had salary increase, but all these things have increased. So how do you think, as a person, how do you think car owners can actually optimize their driving habits to improve fuel efficiency and also reduce the cost that is spent on fuel?
Well, okay, so it is simple. It's actually simple that they should now understand that the car is functioning in a way that when you are driving a car now, when you're on the steering and you're driving, there are two meters on the dashboard. Now we have that of the speedometer and you have that of the RPM. Now the RPM is revolution per minute of the engine itself, that is the crankshaft, how many turns it goes per minute. Now if you are not revving it too high, that is revving it that it goes across 2000 RPM, in that position, in that 2000 RPM, that is the optimum RPM that the car would run without consuming a lot of fuel. Now if you check new latest cars like probably the 2019, 2017, let me just put it that way, Toyotas, you see that they have this echo sign on the dashboard, and when you're driving, if you rev above 2000, the echo light goes off. What does this echo light mean? It means the fuel economy. Now once that light goes off, it means that the car is not running at the point where it should economize fuel. Once you are running underneath 2000 or 2000 RPM steadily, you would see that the light is always on. So even on cars that don't have this sign, this echo sign, you can still run on 2000 RPM or below, and then you will still meet up with the speed, because definitely on constant acceleration, the speed of the car would increase because the transmission is also changing. Since it's an automatic transmission or a manual transmission, there's a way it will change, and then you can still run. Since the gears are changing, your speed will increase, but then you should not accelerate too much that it then passes the 3000 or 2000 RPM, where the car stops the car stops economizing fuel. That's one. Then another driving practice is once you find yourself in a hold up that would take long time to move. Leaving your car on idle would consume a lot of fuel. So it is expected that you turn off and then you start, then move when the cars are moving. And other things like loading your car with too much load, and then the tire also coming in. At least once they're overinflated, they would cause the car to drag. And also since the car has its required PSI for each tires, since it has that recommended, if you don't follow it, you would actually cause the car a lot of struggle in moving, because the tires also play a lot of role in car mobility, and then it can reduce the speed of the car because it is not at its right PSI. And following other things, and those for now, those are like the basic practice that car owners should employ to actually stay use to actually stay off fuel consumption and all. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. You mentioned something about the RPM.
Yes.
And how it is really determining factor of how you speed, and it is very relative to each and every car. Now, on the last podcast, we had a BMW engineer, and he talked extensively about the dynamics of a BMW. Now, stating in particular how the BMW is a bit relative because it's more expensive. You take care of it in a particular way, and it needs a lot of learning. Now, noting this RPM that you mentioned and juxtaposing it with the BMW, what do you think? For those that have a BMW car now, for car owners who use the BMW, what do you think are specific practices that they can do to actually optimize for efficiency?
For BMWs, I think they have a larger engine displacement. That is the top dead center, and there's a portion of the car that they calculate the engine rather, that they calculate the displacement of the engine. Now for BMWs, those engines are always quite larger, and you will not find it that it is now this RPM point I'm giving is it would apply to them. Yes, it will apply to them, but their engines are quite on a larger side compared to every other car that is around. But then driving practice would definitely affect, that is help that the BMW drivers to actually reduce the fuel consumption on their engines. However, those engines are quite big due to their engine types and their displacement peculiarities, characters. So you might not find it that they don't consume fuel; they will always consume fuel.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. So that will lead me to the question I want to ask. I want us to bring it home now. It's the topic of discuss today. We're talking about the car maintenance in a subsidy-less economy. Now, as car maintenance costs increases, obviously because of the price hike of things and due to the absence of the subsidy. Now, what are some cost-effective measures that car owners themselves can take to prolong their vehicle lifespan? What effective measures that they can take, to help their vehicle, so they're not always going back to the mechanic or always having vehicle breakdown? So what are those effective measures that you can take to prolong the vehicle lifespan?
Okay, first of all, we are in Nigeria, and most of us are always penny wise and pounds clever. Let me not use the other word, but um, then we in this part of the world we always want shortcuts to everything, and it has cost us a lot of damages. Now, for car repairs, it's always expected that you go all out for the best to getting your car in good condition, so that you don't, because the in car maintenance you actually enjoy the maintenance of a car in the long run, where you find it that you have there are a lot of things that can be bypassed in cars. There are a lot, quite a number, but then if you try to get somebody that is qualified, a technician that is well qualified, and that also you can also monitor that, oh, this shouldn't be this way, I want it this way, it would help in a long run, because the cost we are talking about is the cost of repairing in a long run. Now, the damages that this bypass I'm talking about, first of all, would cause would not be sudden. It would always accumulate, and then gives you the worst type of issues later on. Now, for effective measures to actually undergo, first of all, you get for engines and engine oil, because that is like the first, for me, that's like the most important part, where your engine is well lubricated with a very good well graded engine oil with the recommended PSI for that engine, API for that engine. You have to actually use that in order for the engine to actually last long enough. For the engine to last long enough, you actually need very good engine oil to keep it running. Now, there's engine oils that you use and then you can use for a year and you're driving the car. And then there are engine oils that because they're not the graded oil for that engine, you actually be changing them every 3 months. Now, if you find yourself in any of the categories where you have to use your car for a year before you service, or use the car for 3 months, you should just stick to it. Now, but then it's expected, since we are trying to cut down costs, it's expected that you use the best, and also you use the car well, that the best oil lasts enough, the length of time that it is supposed to last before you change it. Now, you using the best, yes, it might for a long time. If you are going to get a very good oil, it's a particular amount, and then you are using it for 6 months. Yes, you know that. Yes, you are using your oil for 6 months, and then you don't have to, and then you be rest assured that the car is fine lubrication wise. Now, also, a car owner should always and should try as much as possible to know about their cars, like have a knowledge about it, like car working principle and operations. With that, you would always reduce the cost of whatsoever it is that you are going to be spending on the car incessantly. Now, for example, a quick one, an example of myself. I was in Lagos when my friend in Abuja who called me, guy, his car had issues and it's not getting out of park and everything. I'm like, okay, chill. First of all, take me to where, because we had to do a video call, then he took me to where the gear was, and then I had to see that the PN switch was okay. And when he saw it, he was like, okay. He called his mechanic. The mechanic came around, and then he just explained to the mechanic that, see, check this place, because he already had a foreknowledge of what was the problem. The mechanic couldn't charge him the way he would have charged him because he was a novice. So if you are knowledgeable enough about how your cars work and how it operates, you would cut down the necessary amount of cost that you spend on the cars. Thank you.
You're listening to only the best
Automotive podcast in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. So you said there are different, the best oils for the particular cars. What in your own words, what are the best oils to some different kind of cars? For example, Mercedes. So you think it's the best oil to use, and then some other cars that you have probably worked on in the past. What do you think are the best oils, or specifically, what do you think are the best oils for all of them, or individually, as the case may be?
For every car, there are specified oils to be used, engine oils to be used on them. This is a manufacturer specified oil, which if bypassed or if compromised, the engine suffers for it, and then in the long run, the customers or the car owners will also suffer for it. That is why it's important that the recommendations are always in your bonnet, in the hood, where you find it, where either on the oil cover where you turn in the oil, or on the vendor, close to the vendor in front, where you have the bonnet hook. You would see it there for BMW. For Mercedes-Benz, you find it, and then for Mercedes-Benz, it's always Mobile 1 5W30 most times, and for other cars they'll specify what grade of oil to use. Now, when we now go to use mineral oils, which are cheaper, now the mineral oils are of viscosity of 0.20 W50, which are quite thick in texture. You now find it that once you go use those oils, you find it that the engine starts to accumulate a lot of sludge, and then it wears off the pistons, and followed by you having to bring the engine, or the engine starts wearing out, loss of power, and then it compounds like that because the right oil was not used in the first place. And also there is something I want to talk about, that once you have started using a particular oil that is not recommended for the car, if you are changing back to the recommended oil, it would not meet any effect. It would not, the effect of you using the recommended oil at the latter stage would not have any effect on the car. It would even get worse, because the engine tends to adapt to oils that are being used on it. So it has already adapted to one with a thicker viscosity, and then you're bringing the lighter one, because most of the engine oil that are recommended are quite light. They are synthetic and quite light, though they are very effective, but then they seem lighter than the normal one, than the mostly cheap ones, which are not meant to be used in cars. And so if you now start using the recommended ones at the latter stage, you will not find any results. So I think that would answer the question about oil types and recommended specified oil for engine.
All right, thank you, Sammy. That was quite insightful. Okay, so this subsidy, right, that has been removed by the government, there's a high chance that is going to affect the automobile market, right? So what impact do you foresee on this subsidy impacting the automobile market?
First of all, I would say I can feel it already. First off, most people don't use their cars anymore, and most people that have 3 to 5 cars in their compound are sticking to one now. And so there would be drastic use of cars, which would affect sales of cars, car repairs, and other things. But the market would adapt, because I want to also say that it would adapt, because in the long run, we'll tend to adapt to the system and the policies that the governments are bringing up. I'm not trying to be political here, but I want to say that in the long run, we'll tend to enjoy from it. And also, there would be other complementary policies that would enable us adjust to this present situation as well. But for the automobile market, it is going to be a struggle in the beginning. But I'm sure that at the tail end would have cost, because at that point most car owners would have adapted to the fact that they have to actually stick to good car practice, how to go out and where to go out, and how to drive well, that would save the engine from getting bad, or save the car from getting damaged incessantly. And also, with learning all these methods now, when things get better, it would be easier for them to adapt and then leave their car have a better lifespan in the long run. So I see it paying back at the tail end.
All right, thank you very much. So this will now lead me to ask. Now we've been talking about car maintenance in car maintenance sense. I want us to gear a bit towards new car owners. All right, so people that just recently they want to get a car, they want to purchase a new car. Maybe they are first-time car owners, or they just want to buy a new car. Now, what would you advise? Now, putting in mind, you're a professional in this automotive industry. Now, what advice would you give a new car owner, to make informed decisions about purchasing and maintaining their vehicle in this subsidy-less economy?
Okay, I chipped in something earlier about cars and then what they are designed for. First off, for new car owners, you should please stay away from luxurious cars with a lot of luxury. Just stay away from Benz for now, stay away from BMW for now, stay away from big trucks. And yes, there are good cars, there are multiple cars, but then you should always also factor in the economy into whatsoever you're getting. So for now that prices of fuel is high and everything, you should go for cars with less fuel economy. And yes, you find that even the latest cars, like, I'm not selling any brand, but then latest cars, Toyota, with a lesser displacement, engine displacement of 1.8 and all, it would consume less fuel that you could manage in this period and time. So it is expected and expedient that when you are getting a car, you look out for cars that won't cost too much in repair. Now, in getting a car, you also factor in the parts factor. How much are the parts for this car, spare parts for this car? How much would it cost to repair this car? How much did it cost for a diagnostic guy to check this car and all of that? So it is easier for anybody to actually work on any car that wouldn't give them issues, and then you factor in that, oh, this car is popular, everybody will know how to repair it, easily repairable. So you will not spend much in getting that car and also maintaining that car. Other than that, if you want to go for luxury, if you want to go for, oh, this is my taste, and you have what it takes to maintain it at that point, no problem. But then for those that want to be economical in this present time, you should actually not go for cars that would cut down or cut into your budget. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for that. So for anyone that has any question for our guests, please drop the questions in the comment section. I'll be reading them very shortly. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. I'll be reading them out very shortly. Or we could bring you up for you to ask your question. But you could drop it down in the comment section, so I will read it briefly. Okay, so I would like to ask this question. Knowing fully well that things have increased, all right. I'm still talking about new car owners. All right. Some people do not want to buy. So, for example, I want to buy a new car now. I obviously do not want to. There are some cars you mentioned now that do not buy this. So I would definitely stay away from those cars. But for example, I want to buy like a Tokumbo, all right, like a fairly used or a resale car. Now I understand that value. Now, for resale, what do you think are the impacts on the value of resale cars in this economy? You know, knowing fully well that things have increased. So I had a friend like 2 years ago that got a car then for about 1.7, and right now that same car, the exact same car, and she got it like that was fairly used, yes, fairly used, at 1.7, and now the car is going towards 3M. So how do you think it has impacted on the value of resale cars?
For the value of resale cars, the thing is that for I want to say that it has just opened our eyes to seeing that we were living on a subsidized life all along. Now the cars now that we were getting for a lesser amount then, and now it's higher. I think it has to do with the inflation price and everything. The economy everywhere around the globe, they're actually faulty at this time. So you won't blame them. Now, the policies that were brought down that restricted importation of cars and everything now made anybody selling car in Nigeria currently would always have the price, because they know that it is not easy to get in a car from or through the borders and all. Also for maintaining the cars at that value. Now we need to also get to have a technician that is well grounded. Now there are a lot of things that can make your car lose value over time, and to keeping that car in check, that is keeping it on that same value spec that you got it, you need to be very vigilant to a lot of things. And we all know that in Nigeria our maintenance culture is quite next to nothing, and it would always give us a lesser value if you are not maintaining the car well. Did I get or answer the question?
Yes, you did. Yeah, thank you very much. Alright, so I would be asking this as a final question, and after this we'll take any questions from any of the audiences. So yeah, on a final note, as a piece of advice, with a focus on this sustainability and resourcefulness, what innovative car maintenance solution and practices can car owners adopt to cope with this challenging subsidy-less economy? What new tips do you think car owners can adopt to cope in this subsidy-less economy?
First of all, I would say they should now let me do a rundown of some things. Most cars in Nigeria presently are running on they're running their cars without a thermostat. Now, you're running your car without a thermostat would affect everything that has to do with fueling. The engine coolant temperature sensor would not function, would not be regarded by the vehicle computer. So, and all that we have said to maintaining cars, and some of those things that were bypassed earlier are not corrected, it will still not meet any effect. So I would give this note of advice that we should always try. Now we should try to actually abide by the standard principles and working principles of automobiles worldwide. Now you find it that this same car that the mechanic will tell you that in America the weather is cooler there than Nigeria. There are some times in America that the weather there is even hotter than most times in Nigeria, and then they don't bypass their engines. They don't do all these shortcuts to keep the fan running throughout when the car is on and all. And so it is expedient that when car owners are trying to actually economize and not spend too much. They don't bypass standard. When you bypass standard, you affect the car in the long run. Then secondly, you deal with issues immediately. Now, most of us will just hear an issue. Oh, I feel carry am, reach that place. I'll use until next month. And then when you compile it like that, the after effect is actually crazier than what would have been done when you first had the issue. And so it is also expected that you cannot avoid fixing cars. It is unavoidable that you don't spend on your car. But then if you follow good maintenance culture, follow good practice, you would find it that you will not have to spend too much on your cars if you're actually doing the right thing in maintaining your car. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for that. So let's go to the questions that have been dropped in the comment section. So this is from Odo Samson. He says, "What is the best OBD scanner I can get for the diagnosis of my car?"
Okay, OBD scan tools there are also in specifications. There are a lot of OBD scan tools. There are a lot of companies that manufacture OBD scan tools. Now, depending on what you want to use it for. Now, if you're a car owner and you just want to use it for DIY or just want to use it to check for what it is that is the problem of your listing. Now, it now depends on what you want to use it for. And you can find it that when you turn on your engine on ignition, find that there are so many symbols and warning lights on the dashboard. Now, for cars for you that want to do something or want to always also know about all the lights on your dashboard, you need a higher scan tool. For you that just want to know about the ABS and the check engine lights, and that's all, you can get a very good scan tool for a lesser amount. Now, I would advise that you go for scan tools that their brands are not too there are cars that their brands are well known, and there are some that their brands are not well known. Go for the ones that are not too well known, because they still give you the same function that those that their brands are well known for at a lesser amount. Do you understand? So you can check up online and then you see scan tools. There's this scan tool. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually give brand names that you can go for, but if I am allowed, if I'm allowed, you can check out there's this scan tool called Think Car scan tool on Nucar, NUCAR. So those scan tools are quite affordable and lesser in lesser in price, and also the functions they do is also broad and wide, so you could find it in lesser amount and broader functions. So that would do.
Okay, this is from Peter Pan. Okay, he says, so what do you do when your thermostat is making your car overheat? What do you do when your thermostat is making your car overheat?
Okay, for overheating issue is one issue that is complex in a way. However, it can be resolved easily. Now, for not all thermostats get stuck. Not all thermostats get stuck, but when your thermostat is because you have to actually check other issues before you now say it's the thermostat that's the issue. You replace the thermostat, not removing the thermostat completely and then running your fan directly. Now, there are a lot of factors that can affect your car to overheat. Number one is when it loses pressure in the cooling system. That is, there's a leak in the cooling system. Number two is a bad water pump. Number three is the cooling fan. Number 4 is a clogged radiator, and yes, a clogged radiator, and I think that those 4 factors. And then number 5 is probably a leak in the engine block itself. So for these factors, if you check and all these factors are intact, then you can now point. Okay, there's another one, the engine coolant temperature sensor. If that sensor is faulty, the car would not send signal to the fan. The vehicle computer will not send signal to the fan to actually cool the radiator, and then the engine tends to overheat. So with these factors being checked and seeing that none are faulty, and then the thermostat can also be tested. There's a way to test the thermostat to know if it's either stuck open or it's stuck closed. So you can put it in a boiling water and then boil it to a particular point where it would expand or contract. So once it doesn't contract to allow water flow, that means you know that yes, at a very high temperature, that means the thermostat is bad, and then you can now replace the thermostat. And then there are other ways you can scan to actually know what it is, because there are certain cars that will tell you, oh, the thermostat is stuck open, engine coolant temperature faulty issues and all. So you know from there what it is that
You're listening to only the best
Automotive podcast in Nigeria.
Flico is a company that deals with Automotive. We are a company that provide financial loans to car owners or for car repairs, and all of us also specific products in that we share, that we give out as our services. The Flickify, we have the car repair loan, and then we have Flick as well. All right, more details on that is on our website, flickworld.com, www.flickworld.com. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Flickworld, on Instagram at Flickworld, and on YouTube at Flickworld. On Twitter here it is @KeisFix. All right, till I come your way again.
Why do you think this quote, "na woman dey drive"? Why do you think it is an unspoken rule? Another perspective is that I feel it comes from the place of lack of patience.
It's just the societal way that people have already reasoned women to be like already. There are many times that women drive way better than men.
I want us to separate this superiority thing that you're talking about.
Men are always in a haste to bypass rules, while women will always want to follow rules.
If you're learning how to drive, you're expected to get your learner's permit, which will cover you for a period of 3 months.
Flick Play is the latest feature on the Flickro app.
We thought that, okay, users should be able to score points when they use a particular service or a particular feature.
Most of the times when I see them tow these vehicles, they use very strong ropes.
You're listening to only the best
Automotive podcast in Nigeria.